opinions expressed during the related show are those of the show personalities and guest alone, and not those of Vic Canellis Media Group, its parent, affiliates, or stations. VCMG Live is not responsible for any content, information, or opinions expressed. User bears full responsibility for their reliance on such content, information, or opinions.
Long enough and you'll get arthritis, skin cancer, probably one of the common chronic diseases like CHF, COPD, diabetes. At All County Healthcare, we teach you how to manage your disease. We make sure you know how to take your medications and how to recognize signs and symptoms before requiring hospitalization, no matter how many visits it takes. You didn't move to Florida to be sick. You moved here to enjoy the rest of your life. And that's exactly what our team of nurses, therapists, and aides at All County Healthcare help you do.
The following programming is furnished by you and your doctor.
The content, information, and opinions expressed during the related show are those of the show personalities and guest alone, and not those of Vic Canellis Media Group, its parent, affiliates, or stations. VCMG Live is not responsible for any content, information, or opinions expressed. User bears full responsibility for their reliance on such content, information, or opinions.
Amp2.tv presents You and Your Doctor, teaching you to live a longer and healthier life. Proudly sponsored by All County Healthcare, where people are the heart of our business. All County Healthcare is a Medicare certified agency where one call will service all your home care health needs. For more information, call 954-717-7027 or visit our website, allcountyhealthcare.com. Now, let's get informed to living a longer and healthier life. Here is your host for today's show.
Welcome back to another episode of You and Your Doctor, sponsored by All County Healthcare. We can be reached at 954-717-7027. We are a Medicare certified home health care agency in Palm Beach County, Broward, and Miami-Dade. I am your host, Louise Gomez, and today we have Mr. John Allegretti, certified senior advisor and the owner of CarePatrol of Fort Lauderdale. You can reach him at 754-702-3000. They're at 4234 North Dixie Highway, Suite 122 in Oakland, Florida, 33334. John, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for having me, Louise. It's an honor. I'm happy to be here.
You know, certified senior advisor, can you tell us a little bit more about your duties and what do you do, and well, why did you get into the industry? Just a little bit more about.
Well, yeah, if I digress a little bit, the backstory on me is this. I actually hail from a corporate America background. I come from 26 years in the Fortune 500 in the information technology sector. It wasn't what I went to college for, but once upon a time there was this thing called AOL and CompuServe, the internet. Back in the 90s, I got involved in the field, and I had been there up until not too many moons ago. Now, in tandem, during my career in information technology, my father passed. I was the caregiver, sole and primary caregiver to my mother, who, upon my father's passing, had an extreme problem with her dementia that just progressed, you know, day after day, month after month, year after year. In tandem, I also had my sister with me who suffered from a developmental disability. So I like to say I got a twofer. Because I had to do the caregiving for both while I worked full-time as a single guy.
Wow, took on a lot.
So I took on a lot, and you know, I come from an old world Italian family.
Yes.
And in those days of our parents and our grandparents, planning for things like senior care, assisted living, you know, independent living, it wasn't really front and center. You know, the old model was back in the day, you know, the parents aged and they moved in with their children and their children took care of them until death. And then, you know, in our modern society, things change. So in my case, I really didn't have any plan or anything available to me. And I had to navigate with my mom the entire spectrum of services, from elder care law to the nurses, Department of Elder Affairs, figure out providers, figure out finances. I did it for both my mom and my sister, and I learned a lot by going through that process, and it occurred to me, I wish there was a product or a service on the market that would streamline this.
Well, necessity is the mother of invention.
Is it not?
There you go, right?
Is it not? And since that point in time, I had it in my thinking, one day
Yep.
I will find it. I will find the right coordinates and time and space, and I'd like to do something about that, you know,
Nice.
because I saw the need.
Right.
Now, after COVID, and I was out in California up until recently, after COVID, and I saw what happening in our nursing homes and the devastation on our seniors.
Yeah.
And having really paid my dues in corporate America, I felt it was time, and I really seriously started shopping for something to do. And I found CarePatrol, and I fell in love with it. CarePatrol was founded in 1993 by Chuck Bongiovanni and Becky Bongiovanni. They're medical social workers, and they had the same passion in their heart is, you know, let's get out there and help families find the right solutions for their loved one. Because you can also find bad solutions for your loved one, and the consequences are not good. So they had done that for a while, and then in 2006 they started franchising. So as of last year, I bought the Fort Lauderdale franchise, which includes Fort Lauderdale Core, Davie, Plantation, Hollywood,
Nice.
Lauderhill, Oakland Park.
Nice.
We have 100+ offices across the country,
Wow.
many in Florida, and then, you know, we go from Maine to California.
Wow. So what kind of person, who's going to be calling you? Because I know there's a lot of people listening right now and they're thinking, should I call you? I don't know. What should I do? Why should I call you? What will you do? Like, how will you assist me?
Well,
Because they're scared.
well, they're scared, and that's the reason that they should call.
Yes.
Basically, what I do is think of me like a concierge for senior care. What I do is I am very connected with the providers of my network. It's my job to know everything I can about them. Their care and violation history, what level of activities of daily living they can support, what their pricing and rate card is, how many beds they can support, is there an RN on staff? You know, there's different providers offer different levels of care. So what I do is when a client comes to me, the first thing I do is a discovery, which is an assessment.
Right.
And we'll go through their activities of daily living. Can mom or dad dress? Can mom or dad feed themselves? You know, can they toilet okay? You know, and then I'll look at their medical profile, their medications, and then I'll look at what the financial situation is. What I do is, essentially, I take those data points and I match it up to my database and my providers, and then I'm able to make rapid matches based on that care profile, so we figure out the best possible solution for that client, so they're not out there on the phone calling 1,000 places unsure of what to do. And then if the client needs access to other resources, I don't know what a power of attorney is.
Right.
Here's an elder care lawyer.
Right.
Or I need someone to help with junk around the house for mom and dad. I need a realtor because in order to pay for this, we have to sell the house. Here's a realtor that will specialize in that, you know. So again, I serve as that community connector role, and then, you know, my forte now is helping people find the right care solution.
That is amazing. And I would imagine that you have connections with certain facilities, whether it's a memory care or whether it's a certain types of specialized.
Absolutely. So, you know, when you look at it, well, what are these providers? Well, here, you know, you can start with your home care. And not everyone who's aging needs to go in assisted living.
Right.
At some point, a home care agency may be combined with an adult daycare to give the caregiver some respite is all that's needed for a period of time. But ultimately, things will change. And then you'll need an assisted living where the client will get help with the things they need to function day to day with their activities of daily living. And then if it's more chronic, where dementia's really set in, they need that cognitive stimulation, or they're at risk of becoming nonverbal or are nonverbal, then it's a memory care facility. So, you know, really what I deal with is home care, independent living, assisted living, memory care are really the, you know, and then what we also call CCRCs. Which,
What is that?
That's, you know, that's what we call continuum of care. Those are providers where basically you go and you can age in place. You may go in under independent
Oh, I
living,
see.
and you may wind up in memory care. And those kind of providers help you with the whole life journey. So, for example, you may be in one type of provider for one thing, but if your care situation changes, you may need to go somewhere else.
I see. And so, you know, a lot of people would want to know, I think what would be important to me is connection. Are they going to, like, are they able to still have this connection with other seniors? Because I feel like that's so important for seniors, having that. It keeps their spark going and keeps them, you know, keeps them interested, right? I think people want to know that.
Absolutely.
Are there places that have
Oh,
that type?
absolutely.
Okay.
So I break it down into two camps, really. You have what I call them our communities. These are our larger providers, and they can range anywhere from 50 to 200 plus, you know, beds. And they offer an array of services. So there's meals, there's activities, there's church, there's synagogue.
Wow.
You know, they're always doing something. There's bingo night.
Oh, you see, that's
there's poker
good.
night.
People want to know,
you know,
that.
Or they're going to organize, you know, you know, some kind of outing. And those are great communities where people want a large circle of people around them, make friends. Sometimes maybe somebody will want something a little bit more intimate. Somebody may come to me and say, you know, mom doesn't or dad doesn't want to be in a big place.
Sure.
It's too clinical. I want something like what we might think of as a residential group home, and we call them our residential providers.
Nice.
These are residences that maintain 4 to 6 to 10 beds. They provide an intimate setting, and they give an opportunity because you get a little bit of a higher caregiver ratio. Yeah, exactly.
So what I like is there's so many options, right? And there's so many options that you're aware of that you're able to offer to your clients. How can, you know, what do you think is best? Because I know you had mentioned, you know, it happened to you. You were a child that had this responsibility. How do you think it's best to maybe be a little more pre-planning and maybe get people to take action now, even if they say, well, my parents still seem like they're okay. What, you know, do you think they should still call you and maybe get have a conversation?
It's absolutely, because even having a preliminary conversation doesn't hurt. The more planful you are, generally the better outcomes you're going to have, and it gives you, as you know, a caregiver and loved one, time to mentally, financially, and strategically plan for your loved one. Where things become tough or dicey is where you get a situation where, say, mom or dad fell. There was an accident in the house. Maybe that accident required they went to a skilled nursing center for the month, and then they're going to get discharged. And after that, they can't go home.
Oh, right.
And really, we weren't being as planful as we should have. Now it's a little bit of a crisis. That does happen, but, you know, the more you can get ahead of that and know what your options are, know what the prices are, know what the care capabilities are, know what's in what geography, and, you know, what steps you need to take, what do you need to have, like things like power of attorneys. Do you have your will set up? Is the family aligned? If you had those family discussions,
Very important.
did the brothers and the sisters and the aunts and the uncles and the cousins, or whoever it is, did they all come together and really have this conversation with the loved one? Mom, Dad, what do you want?
Right.
You know, and how would you want this dealt with? So, yeah, the sooner the better. The key things to look for when things start to become a real concern are, say, mom and dad are in their home.
Yeah.
Are the bills getting paid?
Right.
Are they getting dressed? Do they
Yeah.
look disheveled? Are things getting misplaced?
Yeah.
Was there an accident in the kitchen?
Yeah.
Is driving becoming problematic? And that's all.
Yeah.
I went through this with my mom. It's a really, there's no one slap pat way to do it, but the day will come at some point where you have to tell your loved one, I don't think you should have the keys anymore.
That's a tough conversation to have.
It is.
We're going to have a commercial break, and we're going to come back to that because that really is a conversation that can be challenging. So I'm going to have a commercial break, and we'll be right back. And CarePatrol of Fort Lauderdale. Great.
All County Healthcare has exciting news for any and all patients with COPD or other respiratory ailments. Listen to what renowned pulmonologist Dr. Keith Robinson has to say.
Hello, I'm Dr. Keith Robinson, board-certified pulmonologist, medical director at Fusion Health Pulmonary Rehabilitation, and a board member with the American Lung Association of South Florida. We have exciting news for patients with COPD. We now offer IPV therapy at home, which has been demonstrated to improve airway clearance, decrease hospitalization, and improve quality of life of patients with COPD. Please call All County Healthcare for more information about this FDA-approved therapy.
For further information, call All County Healthcare now at 954-717-7027. That is 954-717-7027, or visit our website at allcountyhealthcare.com. You can also find us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Remember, All County Healthcare always puts the patient's needs first. You are listening to You and Your Doctor, Living Longer and Healthier, an informative show that helps you find answers to questions you always wanted to ask, but did not have that somebody that could make a difference in your life. Call into the show if you have a question at 888-565-1470, and we will put you on the air to inform all our listeners. Now, back to our show.
Welcome back to You and Your Doctor. And we have John Allegretti. He is a certified senior advisor, owner of CarePatrol of Fort Lauderdale. Can be reached at 754-702-3000, and they're located at 4234 North Dixie Highway, Suite 122 in Oakland Park, Florida, 33334. So, John, let's get back to that conversation we were having, because I imagine it's a tough one having to tell your parent, let's discuss maybe you shouldn't be driving. How should that be done?
With compassion and empathy, and very carefully. I'd done it with my own mother, and the first time it was broached, it was a very visceral reaction. And a lot of families will experience the same. The key is to explain the benefit and the reasons why, and then redirect them like, Mom, let me take you here. You drive a lot already, or Dad, you drive a lot already. Let me do it, or let me have someone take you here or there, so that they don't feel trapped, or that they've had a loss of freedom or liberty, but that you're acknowledging that you're seeing changes.
That's the key, doing it with love, compassion, and empathy. So I think once they feel that, they'll know it's for their best. So, yeah. So, John, how do you get, talk to me about your clients and where do they come from, and a little bit more about that.
Well, they hail from all over. So being a national company with many offices and then a corporate operation, I can get clients from as far away as Seattle or Maine.
Wow.
A lot will hail from the Northeast,
because
it's a natural destination for retirees, or the Midwest. I have one now who's coming from the Bay Area in California, was a Florida native, was working out there, and then he and his mother are coming back. So, it can come in through, either the local community, somebody will contact me, a hospital or a skilled nursing center might contact me, they need rapid placement, maybe a provider who has someone in their care already, but the care profile is different, and they need a community that does more than that provider can deal with. They'll refer people to me, so it comes from all over.
Nice. So do you actually, if someone wants to be, you know, they know nothing about this, do you send people out maybe to go to the facility as well, or who would they meet, or you would give them a referral to see a facility and to see if it's a good match for them? If they say, well, that's a good recommendation, but I have to see if it's a good match, like, do they go there blindly, or somebody will meet them there?
Well, the way it would work is, once we figured out what are the right options for them, we surface those to the client and their family.
Okay.
And, you know, so long as they're okay with it, the next step of the process is we contact the communities, we arrange a tour. One of CarePatrol's core things is we go out to ensure that all the clients' questions are being met.
Okay,
They've talked to the right staff at the community. They walk away from that experience having their questions answered. And then, having surfaced all the relevant options for them, we sit down with the client and say, okay, now, you know, it's basically your decision. Here's what we've advised you to look at. Now you'll need to choose. And then, you know, and then once that choice is made, then we'll help them coordinate the move-in logistics and so forth. Once the client's placed, we also stay in touch with the families and the client, because things may change in the future, or they may need additional services. So, and that's part of what we do.
I like that, and I think it's so important because people are fearful, you know, and they go into this whole, you know, program saying, who do I speak to, what do I do? But you already prepped everybody. They already know the person's profile and what to expect. So they really, I would imagine it's a welcoming conversation for them. So they feel at ease, which is.
And demystify the experience, absolutely, and take some of the, you know, as you say, the fear and just, you know, the overwhelming dread of having to parse through all this information. And then, you know, we help simplify, reduce it, break it down. And again, when a loved one goes into assisted living or an independent living or a memory care, there's a whole lot of other stuff going on. Doctors are getting updated. They're doing assessments. They're making sure they're certified for assisted living. You know, again, properties may have to be sold, finances have to be looked at. So we make sure these people have access to those resources.
Wow. We love what you do. I'm going to give you the information for John Allegretti, Certified Senior Advisor, owner of CarePatrol of Fort Lauderdale. Again, jot this number down. You're going to need it, 754-702-3000. And the email address isjallegretti@carepatrol.com. And check out the website, carepatrol.com. I'm sure you have a lot of resources and good information there on the website. So people maybe, you know, they want to take it. The first step would be going on the website, probably.
Absolutely.
Yeah, wonderful.
Well, Louise, I can't thank you enough. This has been really enjoyable.
Thank you so much for helping us, you know, with the seniors, because it's a community that they get to have that dignity and respect and be treated, you know, with that. And I know you do a good job at that. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Wonderful. Great. Great job.